While President Trump continues with his state visit in the UK, many in the U.S. are still asking questions about the UK's role in the Spygate scandal. The scandal involved the surveillance operations conducted on the Trump campaign in London. One America's Jack Posobiec sat down with a CIA veteran to learn more.
We are very excited to have back here on One American News Brad Johnson, retired CIA, former station chief, and current president of Americans for Intelligence Reform. Brad, thanks so much for sitting down with us today.
Jack, great to see you again.
So the last time and a couple of times that we've had you on, we've talked about the British involvement in what's now come to be known as Spygate. I think we were talking about this even before it was called Spygate, but we've talked about the British involvement. Now the president is over there. Do you think that this is an issue that the president will raise with the British as part of his trip today?
I would say it almost certainly could be. He has a wide range of negotiations taking place, much of which are related to Huawei and cooperation of the Brits with the Chinese for their 5G communications. Much of it is related back to the intelligence, the Crossfire Hurricane problem that's now beginning to surface in a great deal of detail. So it would make perfect sense for the president, as part of his negotiations, to bring all of this up.
We're now seeing for the first time MI6, GCHQ, they're putting out press statements responding to our reporting on what they've done. Explain for everybody just how unprecedented that is.
Yeah, that's very unusual, and mostly spy agencies don't tend to make a lot of public statements.
Certainly not about operations.
And almost never about operations. And one of the inherent problems with intelligence is you can't comment, because it begins to provide information to your opponents or your enemies when you don't make comments. So you basically just never make comments so that you don't give anything away. So the fact that they're commenting shows the amount of pressure that they're under, and that the fact is they're worried. Peter Strzok, who was the head of CIA, the counterintelligence for the FBI, went to London to debrief the ambassador, who was the one that met with Papadopoulos, that kicked this whole thing off when they began to look at the Trump campaign. And that cannot have been done without full coordination. And that coordination would be between Gina Haspel, then Chief of Station of London, handpicked by then Director John Brennan of the CIA, to fill that slot.
If the FBI is running an investigation overseas on a U.S. citizen that also, in some cases, we're seeing involves other U.S. citizens, they're not just going to do that independently, are they?
Absolutely not. And these are all fairly set in stone methods that are used to coordinate, and particularly with London, with the Brits being such a close ally of ours and part of Five Eyes and the sharing of intelligence that goes on. It's prohibited in essence to run any operation in London of any kind without full coordination. And because this was the FBI, who is law enforcement, done in coordination with the CIA, which is intelligence, that means it was also done in coordination with British MI5 law enforcement and MI6 intelligence, so that all of those were brought in. Now there's the problem, because now the Brits are implicated in investigating a duly elected president of the United States, probably illegally. So there's some real problems floating to the surface for them, and as more and more of these details come out, I think the Brits are going to have a little bit of egg on their face.
Brad Johnson, thank you so much for coming on with us. You're always a wealth of information.
Jack, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.